Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 30th of May, 2017. So, there's a thing that's called White People Day.
Well, in Evergreen State College, these social justice warriors have just gotten out of hand. And they have a very, very progressive professor who was actually became, it's like the Cubs eat the lion.
That's disgusting.
They have this day where they walk out to for different races, and they wanted to create a day where they wanted all white people to not show up. And this professor wrote a very profound and well thought out letter and said, "I'm behind you 100% on the, walkouts for other races and things like that. But you can't form a day where you ask other people to do something based on the lack of color of their skin, right?"
Right.
Well, these children, and I if you've been following me on
Lord of the Flies,
Resistance Chicks on Facebook, I did this a couple days ago. Now, Tucker Carlson had the professor on his show. He is a really well-spoken guy, but these kids, I watched a very long portion where he's just trying to talk to them, and it's like they're having temper tantrums, and they're like it's like they're throwing themselves on the ground and banging, and you're racist. They're calling him for him to be fired because he won't. Well, just watch.
These racist teachers have got to go, hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist teachers have got to go, hey, hey. Teachers have got to go, hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist teachers have got to go, hey, hey.
I keep wondering, why is that lady just standing there and taking it?
Black power, black power, black power, black power, black power, black power.
I have to show you and point out the ignorance of these children. Their professor is in no ways racist. It was dangerous for him. The campus police were told to stand down.
Of course.
But they wanted him to leave because they feared for his safety.
What's your name now? That's my problem, George.
What about our protection right now? Fuck you and fuck the police!
Suggest that you take under heavily consideration those that oppose the training and
That's how whiteness works. Whiteness is the most violent fucking system to ever breathe.
I want to cry. I can't tell you how fast my heart is beating right now. I'm shaking in my boots.
I got to go, hey, hey. Oh, oh. These racist teachers have got to go, hey, hey. Oh, oh. If somebody's talking, you are not listening. In your head, if you're thinking of a response while somebody is talking, that is not listening. You need to listen.
And to be honest with you, I don't expect you to even say anything to me.
This is where the dean called everybody together and was like, okay, let's talk this through, if we think we're having some issues. And it's just, I have to say, sometimes you only go to state colleges because your education is not top-notch. The minds aren't working right.
Because I know actions speak louder than words. My mama didn't raise no fool.
Giggling and laughing every time we say something. Control it. Try.
I heard her say that 11 o'clock is funny. She shouldn't have to be here at 5:30 still telling you to stop
It's
watching.
not an accident that all of our administration is white.
Right.
It's not an accident. That shit is systematic as fuck. So what we said I'll be here.
This institution's really good at targeting trannies.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on and on. There's more.
All of us are students and have homework and projects and things due. Have you sent an email out to our faculty letting them know?
No.
What's been done about that? 'Cause we're all here at our own time.
Yeah, yes, I'm a paid girl.
That is the first thing I'll do. I have not done it yet.
So they need to be told that these assignments won't be done on time. And we don't need to be penalized for that.
I don't know the names of all the students here.
This is the dean who they went in and they had these demands, right? And he rolled over. Okay, so we're here on our own time and seriously, this is a big deal for us. So could you just make sure that we won't be penalized if we don't do our homework and stuff on time? It doesn't get crazier than this. It really doesn't. But I want to show you the Tucker Carlson Evergreen.
I'm sorry, I don't have really much to say for this because it's really unfortunate that it is the people, the children of color that are being showcased here. But I know that the white people are just as insane. It's this age group that we have going here, and it's insanity.
This year, student activists demanded that all white people leave campus or else. Brett Weinstein refused. He's a professor at Evergreen State, and he called the race-based demand, quote, a show of force and an act of oppression. In response to that, here's what happened.
This is not about you.
I'm talking all about him.
On terms of white privilege. This is not a discussion. You have lost that one.
You said some racist. Can you apologize? I did not.
It's not telling people of color the useless. You're useless. Get the
So this hallway exchange was mostly white kids with a few black kids, and it just goes on and on and on. And he really tried to talk to them, like.
History could pivot in the direction of the values that you are standing here for.
Yeah, resign.
What?
Resign.
Wow. Professor Brett Weinstein joins us now. Professor, first of all, thank you for coming on. That looks like something, out of Phnom Penh, 1975. Was that, what exactly was going on there? What happened?
Well, what happened is that 50 or so students decided to disrupt the class that I was holding that morning and demand my resignation.
Because you wouldn't leave campus because you're white?
Well, they imagine that I am a racist and that I am teaching racism in the classroom, and that has caused them to imagine that I have no right to speak, that I'm harming students by the very act of teaching them.
What happened after the video cut out?
Well, that's an interesting story. The campus police apparently showed up outside of the classroom. The protesters then blocked their entrance. I did not call the police, someone else called the police, and they were concerned for my safety. But when they tried to come into the building to make sure that I was okay, the protesters blocked them, and because the issue of policing is so sensitive at the moment, the police had to run around and find another entrance to the building to get inside and check with me. At the point they did that, the protesters moved on and corralled the president of the college at his office. They extracted some demands from him. Among the demands was that there would be a meeting, well actually demands is perhaps the wrong word, a concession, that there would be a meeting at 4 o'clock in a large room on top of our library building. So that meeting took place at the end of the day, and believe it or not, it was far crazier than the video that you just showed.
This whole story is so over the top that even though we do a lot of these, it's hard for me to believe it's real. So the core demand is that all people of your skin color leave the campus. Your president is a guy called George Bridges. Where was he?
Bridges.
Why isn't, there he is right there. Why, George Bridges is supposed to be running the school. Why is he allowing a mob to threaten one of his professors?
Not really running a school.
Well, I must say, I have some concern that the story is so strange that it's not even going to make sense to an audience that isn't local to the campus. Dr. Bridges is allowing this mob to effectively control the campus, and they have been in control since 9:30 on Tuesday morning.
That was last week.
At this moment, I believe Dr. Bridges is answering a set of demands put forward by the protesters, and they have said that if he does not accept their demands, that there will be violence. I do not know what his response to those demands is going to be, but I know that that's taking place at this hour. He has also told the police to stand down.
So those are two things that usually don't go together. When someone threatens violence, you don't normally tell the police to stand down, do you? No. Why is it that, you hear a domestic violence happening next door and you call the police? Okay, they're threatening violence. You get restraining orders for people threatening violence, right? Well, all these kids, they can't go back to school. You can't threaten violence. And this is what boggles my mind. Little kids, like 5-year-old kids, go to kindergarten with a little plastic knife to put a little like jelly or something, and they suspended for bringing in weapons. Right? The kids, they were playing, like I heard about some kids playing like
Water
cops and
guns.
rubbers with their
hands.
fingers.
You're right, it was with their hands.
Cut your hands off. That's a weapon. But you can't. But you can do this. And we give concessions to them.
Right.
You can't bring in a plastic spork or knife or a water gun or something like. Oh, but that teacher, she did shoot Trump with a water gun. She should have been fired for bringing.
Somebody actually had pointed that out on that.
So, anyways, inciting violence, inciting hatred, inciting craziness. And you know what? Sometimes they say be cool, stay in school, but obviously this education is not working, so we need a different approach.
We do need a different approach.
We need a different approach with these children, because they ain't getting it right in the head. Something just didn't go right.
I'm telling you, and I have said this before on Resistance Chicks, but I'm going to revisit it
13
one
years
more
of
time.
school.
A lot of times when this is the generation where most, not all, most kids went where?
Preschool.
Daycare. And in daycare, when kids are with a mob of other kids and there is no one to defend them and bring justice to a situation, they turn into fighters.
Yeah, biters.
They bite. They turn to violence because no one is going to bring them justice.
Right.
So they have to take the justice into their own hands. This continues through life, and now these children are in college.
Lord of the Flies.
And all they're left with, because they don't know how to actually get something done the right way, they resort to violence and temper tantrums.
Which is very interesting, because you think if you were coddled by your mother and you had a stay-at-home mom or something like that, you know, people think it would be backwards. You toughen those kids up, put those 6-month-olds in daycare, and teach them how to survive. You know, rattlesnakes, come on. You can't have weapons. I don't know what you're supposed to do. But anyways, that was my first thought. This generation, not all of them are crazy.
Right.
But a good portion of them are crazy, and there's psychologists have said that
This is why they need their
there is a
safe spaces.
correlation, right? When you don't have when you're not grown up, when you don't grow up in a safe home, and it is
very natural
to nurturing children in their home.
Exactly.
It's very unnatural to leave your home for 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day while you're growing.
Especially during those developmental ages.
We take care of animals. There's a certain time that these animals need to be with their mother. They need the mother's milk. They need to be with their mother. And if you take them away early, you don't get the same kind of health.
Right.
And
you know what? Lastly, it needs to be reiterated, because I know that both Tucker and this professor already did, but the fact that people are trying to force someone to do something because of the color of their skin, and when that person doesn't comply, you call them racist.
Right. What if we had a day where we just said all black kids have to leave the school? Like, and they didn't want to, but you made them. I mean, seriously.
And all black professors. Or Hispanic. Or Muslim. Or whatever, even though the Muslim's not a race. It's a religion. Seriously, you guys, this is insanity at its finest. Okay, you guys, this is Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless. And don't forget, we will be going to the Red Pill Expo June 23rd and 24th. Please look it up, because we want to see you guys there. We love you.
I was cold.